Welcome to the F+L Webcast. My name is Vicky Denton and I'm your host. Our guest today is Joachim Metzinger. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for Marketing and Distribution of Lubricants of a French company called Afyren. Welcome to F+L Webcast, Joachim.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky, for hosting me.
You're welcome. So let's start by asking you about Afyren. It's a new company. It was established in 2012, but we just came to know about you like this year. So what happened between 2012 and 2022, 10 years?
Yeah, Vicky, you are perfectly correct. Afyren is a French green tech scale-up, and the company was founded in 2012 by two gentlemen called Nicolas Saudet and Jeremy Pessiot. We have two different backgrounds. Nicolas is more on the financial side, and Jeremy comes from the scientific side. And they combined their both experiences to create Afyren and start a journey. Then a first important step was done in 2018 with the creation of Afyren Neoxy as a manufacturing joint venture. And last but not least, in 2020, the plant was started to be built. In this year was another important step for the company as we commissioned the industrial plant, and also we launched the startup process in which we are very active as we speak.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to call you Joe from here on. It's easier to pronounce. How did you get involved in Afyren?
My background is a technical background. I spent 25 years in the chemical industry in different roles, R&D, business roles, and the common theme in my career was always customer focus, customer centricity, and doing business development. And I detected Afyren more than 3 years ago, and I engaged discussions with the leadership team, and the project and the team was very inspiring to me. And I took the good decision to join Afyren more than 3 years ago in 2019.
What's unique about Afyren?
Yeah, Afyren manufactures sustainable, high-performance, bio-based solutions that are designed for low-carbon and circular industries. We have a portfolio of 7 bio-based organic acids that are manufactured in one single process, and they are used as building blocks for many different industries, including lubricants and also technical fluids. The large majority of Afyren's acids will be available for the first time as bio-based versions in industrial quantities. Today, the reference in this space is still petro-based materials.
Afyren is a producer of bio-based acids. So tell us, what is bio-based?
Yeah, bio-based in general are goods that are made from renewable biogenic material. It's also commonly called biomass, and frequently used types of biomass are agricultural origin products like sugar beet co-products that Afyren is using in the first Afyren Neoxy plant. But it can also be many other biomasses like wood, vegetable oils, sugar, and wheat, and they are used as raw material to make new goods.
These raw materials, are they sourced from France, or do you have to get them from other parts of the world?
So one of the reasons why we are on the chemical platform in Eastern France is that we are more or less 360-degree surrounded by major sugar beet manufacturing basins around the plant. So we have a short distance supply, and there are many sugar beet growing areas and sugar mills in a distance of less than 300 kilometers around the plant.
So your supply chain is very near and very short, so to speak.
Correct, Vicky, and that was really one of the important aspects in the Afyren manufacturer model. Being sustainable for us means also that we have short distance supply and reducing our carbon footprints and environmental impact by having a short distance but also a traceable supply chain to make more sustainable bio-based products.
Based on your experience, Joe, how important is it to have a small carbon footprint today to be successful in the market?
It's a great accelerator for us, as today Afyren is the first company to propose many of these assets in the market. The fact that they are bio-based, natural, with reduced carbon footprints is a great advantage for our customers in achieving their own environmental targets and sustainability targets, but also the customer's customer. Many of them have set very ambitious targets to be carbon neutral by 2030, 2040, and Afyren brings a small contribution to achieving these ambitious environmental targets.
Tell us a little bit about your Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emissions. Have you reached that point, or is it too early to say something about it at this point?
Yes, that's a little bit early to go into further details on these aspects, as the plant, as we heard before, is in the startup process, and we first need to generate more data to go into this level of detail.
How difficult is it to be a startup during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, Afyren, we were very lucky, as before the pandemic, we were already set up to work remotely with a multi-functional team, and the working habits itself were already rooted in our company. But it was a clear challenge on the industrial side, as you mentioned rightly before. When we started the industrial project, we went into lockdown, and we had a big challenge to make sure that the construction process of the plant is not delayed, as the authorization processes have also been slowed down very much. Last but not least, we were able to deliver the plant construction in time and on budget, which is a very great achievement by the Afyren team, especially during the pandemic and all the challenges that we faced and that the whole world faced during this special periods.
So, in terms of supply chain, you mentioned that your supply chain on the demands on the supply side is very short. Now, what markets are you targeting for your product, for your bio-based assets? Are you mostly looking at France or the EU in general, or are you thinking of also going to North America or Asia?
So with the first plant, Afyren Neoxy, we're mainly targeting the European markets. European markets for us means mainly the industrial countries. We shared before the different markets, and when you look on the manufacturing footprint in these areas, naturally France, Benelux, Germany, Italy, and Spain are key players in these industries. But we are also looking further. Afyren's technology is very scalable, and we went public in September 2021. We raised 70 million euros, and these funds were or are destined to look further, to look into Southeast Asia and to look into North America to build the second and third plant. And another aspect of the IPO was to accelerate our innovation and research.
And how do you intend to do that?
We are currently having teams that are actively working on the next plants, on selecting sites, looking for the best implantation of the future plants.
When you think about bio-based, the first thing that comes to mind, it's going to be more expensive than fossil-based assets. I know pricing is a little bit tricky, but give us a little bit of idea in terms of price competitiveness. You mentioned it's a drop-in. So in terms of technical features and performance, then it would be equivalent to fossil-based assets. Are you at liberty to tell us a little bit more about the products you're going to be selling into the automotive and industrial lubricants market?
Yeah, Vicky, that's a good question. Yes, I can tell you a little bit more about this. So for Afyren, since the beginning, it was very important that the technology that is developed is competitive in the market space to be successful in long-term scale and grow the company on a long-term perspective. So when we say competitive, it means that it's not necessarily exactly the same price, as we bring a disruptive value proposition in terms of carbon footprint reduction, in terms of circular products, in terms of different features that the customers and customers' customer can advertise. And the end users, you and myself, we are getting more and more sensitive in using more environmental friendly and more sustainable products. And that's a key driver there. So yes, we are competitive, but in some cases, we are able to get a certain premium as we are bringing a new value proposition and new features to the different industries.
And what are the specific products you're going to be offering to the lubricants industry? Maybe you can go and tell us a little bit about the product ranges that you have that you're going to be offering very soon.
Mm-hmm. So the products, the Afyren building blocks are ranging from 2 to 6 carbon atoms in the acids, and in the lubricant industry, it's more the longer side of the carboxylic acids that are manufactured in our plant. So it's basically the valeric acid and hexanoic acid that will be offered to the lubricant industry. And our customers are then making the base oils by combining these acids with polyols and making the synthetic polyol esters out of it that enter into the final lubricant formulations. And these lubricant formulations containing these two acids go into a various number of industries. They can be used in the automotive industry, they can be used in the aviation industry, but also in industries like refrigeration and air conditioning industries for the lubrication of the compressors. And there are also very exciting new developments in newer spaces like immersion cooling in technical fluids, immersion cooling for data centers that are more and more an environmental concern.
Your total production at Afyren Neoxy is 16,000 tons per year. Is that right?
That's correct.
How much of that would represent the acids that will go into the lubricants sector?
Mm-hmm. So the lubricant sector is a significant part. It's a significant part of the 16,000 tons. So the main markets that the 16,000 tons will go into is the nutrition sector, so human and animal, and the lubricant industry.
So in terms of, give me a little bit of a sense, because I don't know in terms of, as a building block, how much a certain ton, how many, for example, esters it would produce. Just give me a little bit of a sense how big an impact your production would have in the lubricants industry.
Yeah, the range is very can be a large variety. The acids can be up to more than 80% in an ester, and then down to 10 to 20% in a polyol ester. So depending on the combination of acids that are used, there is a large band of impact, but it can be up to the majority of the composition in a technical suite.
And you raised about 80 million euros to build the plant. According to your brochure, it's in a platform called Chemesis. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you're perfectly correct, Vicky. The plant is based on a chemical platform called Chemesis in eastern France. It's a historic chemical platform that is today still active, very active in petrochemical manufacturing. Companies that are active there are, for example, Total Energies or Arkema. And we have been offered the opportunity to be part of this platform, which is a significant advantage for us, as we are and have built a greenfield plant on a brownfield, and we have had access to all utilities that were already there, and also the vicinity. The local stakeholders are very supportive to reindustrialization by industrial and new bioeconomy plants on this platform.
And you actually have started production, right? Since you inaugurated the plant in September, I believe, of this year?
We have opened the plant in September, correct, and we are actually still in the startup process.
What does startup actually mean? What does it involve?
Startup means that we are qualifying the different process steps, and that we are going towards the full manufacturing of the Afyren bio-based acids.
Your products are building blocks for industrial and automotive lubricants. Now, lubricants is just one, I believe, of 6 sectors that you're going to be engaged in. Tell me about the other sectors besides lubricants that are covered by your your products?
Mhm. Yeah, on top of the lubricant sector, Afyren has targeted 5 structurally growing strategic sectors for the usage of these bio-based assets. Number one is the food industry, that is very demanding of our products for clean labeling aspects. The animal nutrition, which is very active in using these assets since a long time. The flavor and fragrance industry is looking for natural solutions, and there we bring all the aspects with our bio-based solutions. And the 2 additional sectors that we are selling into is the material science and the life science sectors. And life science for us in our segmentation also includes cosmetics and personal care industry.
And you're basically going to supply bio-based assets. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What's common about these 6 industries that you just mentioned?
They're all using the assets already today. They're using the petrochemical counterparts of the assets, and we are offering for the first time drop-in solutions that are bio-based, that are circular, and that are based on a lower carbon footprint. And all these industries are on their journey to a more sustainable future.
The assets that Afyren will be producing commercially very soon are actually derived from products or co-products of sugar beets, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we are using an innovative fermentation technology that is using the co-products of sugar beets. And we are transforming these raw materials based on natural microorganisms. And what is another important aspect of our technology is that we are not in competition with the food chain. It's the valorization of byproducts that are from non-food biomass. And the fermentation process itself is biomimetic. What does this mean? Is that we are using an industrial process that is also occurring naturally in the environment. So once the fermentation is conducted, the process yields are extracted and purified by distillation to obtain the 7 pure organic acids.
This technology is actually patented by Afyren, or are you using a third-party technology?
It's an Afyren technology. It's patented. We have a family or 10 families of patents that cover our technology, and the Afyren strategy is a build and operate strategy. So we really want to be in control of the manufacturing, the operations, and the marketing of the products that are created by this new technology.
Can I ask Joe why you adopted this particular business model instead of licensing a technology, like what a lot of people do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to keep control of our technology. It's patented. There is also a lot of know-how, and by operating, we are able to continuously improve the technology, but also being in direct contact with the end-use markets, with the 6 markets that we have shared before, we can detect unmet needs in different industry spaces and offer new solutions and help our customers and customers' customer to innovate and bring new and more sustainable solutions to their respective markets.
What other co-products can you use besides the co-products of sugar beets? Can you use sugarcane, for example?
It's very versatile. It can be, it could be sugarcane co-products. It could be municipal waste, organic municipal waste. It's very versatile as long as it is fermentable by the natural occurring microorganism.
And how much water is required in the fermentation process? Is this very water intensive?
So one of the advantages of Afyren's technology is that it's very low water consumption. We are in the closed loop, and the water that is generated in the process is recycled and reintroduced. In some cases, we could even generate water instead of consuming water, which is a huge advantage in the current climate change situation, where water becomes more and more precious resource.
And do you also generate your own energy, or where do you get your energy from?
We are getting energy from public providers in France today.
Very commonly, plants like this have cogeneration, or a lot of them have announced using solar or using wind. Are there any plans for something like this, Joe?
We are looking into this.
As a startup, what were the particular challenges that Afyren had to go through?
Yeah, thank you, Vicky. That's an interesting question, and I would like to focus on 3 key challenges to grow a startup in general. The first one is the technology proof and scaling. The second one is financing, and the third one is hiring talents. So let me develop the 3 aspects a little bit further. Technology and scaling for Afyren, like for any deep tech, it's a long journey. So we started from proof in the lab scale to pilot plants, and these steps were done in half a decade, which is a pretty fast journey for a deep tech startup. During this period, thousands of trials were conducted by the R&D team of Jérémy Pessiot in Clermont-Ferrand, and this allowed the R&D team to prove and show the robustness of our fermentation technology. And very consistent performance was observed from the beginning in the lab to the second generation pilot plant. In parallel, we've been able, during this period, to sample customers and get our products technically approved, also showing the technical fitness of the products in the different market segments. And all these achievements on the technology in scaling have also been an advantage for Afyren in the financing. Afyren Neoxy is financed by 80 million. We have been able to raise 70 million during the IPO in 2021. And some players were really instrumental in this, like the SPI funds from the public French investment bank, who is our shareholder partner in Afyren Neoxy. Then the third aspect, hiring talents. You know, as everybody in the industry, that there is a lot of competition today of attracting and hiring talents, specifically when you are in a young scale up or before even a startup like Afyren. The employer brand has been consistently developed by the leadership team and the HR teams, and this allowed us to attract talents that are perfectly in line with our ambition, but also with the values that are so important for Afyren, whether it is on the culture, the company culture, or really contributing to a more sustainable world.
Why did Afyren choose the lubricant sector among the six? What was there particularly that made it an ideal market for Afyren?
Yeah, there are different aspects, Vicky, that made us choose the lubricant industry. First, there was the demand from the prospects at that time, and synthetic lubricants benefit from a healthy and structural growth forecast for the next years of more than 3%. And in this industry, the requirements are becoming more and more demanding and complex in terms of the performance profile of lubricants. And these more stringent requirements can only be met with tailor-made application-specific design, and we aspire to contribute through these new solutions.
Well, I think that's very interesting. We're in fact, this morning I was just editing an article about the role of lubricants and tribology in Scope 4. Obviously, there's no officially Scope 4 emissions, but the theory is that there should be one, primarily because avoided emissions are as important as Scope 1, 2, and 3. So I don't know if you've heard of this argument before, but at least that's what the tribologists are arguing for. So I think definitely, with the shift to bio-based, more environmentally products, that would even be a more compelling reason for lubricants to be included in that Scope 4, what they call the NETS, the net emission technologies. I don't know actually what that means, but apparently it's the new buzzword today.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, Joe, I'd like to thank you for being on our show. We appreciate the information you shared with us, and good luck to Afyren, and we look forward to hearing more about the company in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky, also for giving us the opportunity to talk to you. It was a real pleasure spending the time with you and explaining a little bit more about Afyren, about our industry. And I also wish you a great future with Fuel and Loose.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.